Hello there, folks. This is Janie, and welcome back to either my page or if you're viewing me on my YouTube channel, Graham's Backyard. I appreciate everybody that watches me and takes a little bit of time out of their day to see what's going on in my kitchen or in my backyard. We worked in the backyard yesterday, a nice cloudy cool day, and this morning it was 69 degrees. So what do we have on the menu for today when the weather's getting a little bit cold? I'm going to walk you through one of my chili recipes, and roll tide, it's game day today, this evening. So I'm going to have me a bowl of chili while I watch the game this evening, and so I'll kind of walk you through it and show you what I'm doing. And I started browning the meat. So let me show you this. So I buy my meat from a local farmer, and I got my Dutch oven. So I've got 2 pounds of ground beef cooking up right now. And I just want to show you like some of the things that you'd use once you're canning. But look at that. Isn't that so cute? My little wagon, I got to use it. One of my local suppliers has some health issues. They're having a surgery, so they're closing up early today. So I ran and got a bunch of onions and what else did I get? Got a bunch of onions and just, and my husband's honey. So I have to have honey to last him throughout the year. So I got him 4 jars of honey and got a bunch of onions and stuff just to kind of help them and support my local supplier of vegetables. And they have a little business, and I guess they have different suppliers, and they get some of the Amish canned vegetables and stuff like that. So I support them. But today I just kind of wanted to show you how I do this from my chili that I'm going to make up from whatever. I really don't follow a recipe because if you've been watching my channel or look at any of my channels, you know that I cook according to what I have going on in my garden. And right now I don't have a whole lot of jalapenos, so I did a couple of jalapenos in this recipe, and some of them call for 2 jalapenos. But let me show you what I've collected today. So if you were with me the other day, I'm trimming out all of my tomatoes. So this is some that fell off of the vine or that broke off, or I broke the branch. There's some tomatillos in here. So I've got this all washed up, these ready to bag up, and they're going in the freezer. This is, I'm washing these up, getting these ready. They started to blush and turn color, so I'm going to wash them up, let them finish ripening. Let me see what else I got. This is our table over here. So, of course, yes, plethora of cherry tomatoes we're still eating on. Here's some of these that I'm going to go through and sort them out. And this is kind of my harvest table. And I also bought some peaches from the people that are closing early this year, and I need to process those. I wanted some peach jam, but that's not a whole lot, but I might just make me up a few. But those tomatoes, I was supposed to get tomatoes like this off of that one vine, and so I've got 3 of them, but this is what I've been getting all year long. I don't know why all of a sudden I get these big beautiful tomatoes, but this is my harvest from my front yard. And I'll shut this let me shut this heat down, and I'll show you. I've got it shut down, and just let it simmer for a minute until we get back to it. But I want to show you what I have out here in the front yard. So I've gotten a couple of new things, but I don't think I've ever showed this before, but look at all this land I got out here, and I would love to start gardening in it, but my husband is about ready to have a panic attack. So I've got 1 pumpkin there. Got one of my squashes there. And I started out at just these 4 little containers. And of course, you know, they need a lot of room and they spread out and they go everywhere. My husband's having conniption fit about all this grass. But there's another pumpkin. It's ripening up, and here's another one. So when those get done, I haven't decided yet. I may end up buying the kids their own pumpkins. I was hoping to grow some, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pumpkins I would need for the grandkids that I have here locally. I may just buy them some, and I want to cook those up because I made some awesome. Last year, my grandson, he got a pumpkin from school, and he knows that I cook a lot of stuff from scratch and everything. He comes wagging this pumpkin, and grandma, it wasn't real big, but it was big for him. He's what is he, 8 now? He comes wagging this pumpkin in. He said, Grandma, can you make me a pumpkin pie out of this pumpkin? And I was just starting out to gardening and growing and cooking from scratch, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. So after he leaves, I'm Googling recipes and stuff, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? So I went, and you won't see me doing a lot of baking. I'm not a pie cooker. I can't even, sad to say, I can't even get my sugar cookies right. Either they come out hard and fall apart into balls, or they're flat, like taffy candy or something. I don't know. I'm just not a baker. You know, some people cook, some people can bake, but I'm not one of those. But I made these pies, so I made up the pie puree. I cooked it in the oven, sliced it in half, cooked it in the oven, pureed it all out. And I bought some canned pumpkin just in case. Because I didn't know what I was doing. So followed the recipe and everything. Ended up with, I didn't realize, I ended up with 5 pies. And whenever he came in from school, he was so excited. I had these 5 pies cooked and baked up, and I'm like, well, I need it. So I took one and cut it up and tried it. It was the best thing I've ever tasted. It was some kind of, it came out like a custard, not a whole lot of pumpkin taste to it, but it was some kind of custard taste to it, and it was wonderful. We all ate them, and we loved them, and he was happy as he could be. I sent them all home with him, and he just ate his fill, I guess, in pumpkin. So I still have some pureed pumpkin in the freezer, and I think I might add some pumpkin spice to it, or like nutmeg and stuff like that, and make some more of those custard pies for this year. But I've got 2 gallon bags left, so then I'll get these cooked up and get them put away for whenever I can at least master the custard pie. But let me show you these on the porch that I got. And Wilbur's checking them out. These are the, what do they call these? Stackable. It just leaves my mind whenever I want to talk about these planters. And I'm going to have to do some gardening here on my porch. I have a whole lot of room space here on my porch. So when I get some soil, I'm going to get these stacked up. And I'm going to get my herbs started, because unfortunately my chickens have found my herb garden out back. It was up on a high bench, so I didn't think that they would bother it, but as time goes by, they're jumping up on top of the outdoor kitchen, checking everything out, and then they found that, and it's not that they eat anything, or it's just soil that they can dig in, and they dig everything up. So they found that, so I'm going to move my herbs out front, and in those little, gosh, I wish I could, I'll remember it whenever I'm done filming. I'll remember what it is. But those stackables, and I'm not gonna, those are smaller ones. I'm not into the $169 dollar ones or anything yet. So I'm starting out small. Just got those off of Amazon. But I do have two trays of strawberries that I want to get out of those trays and get them put in those. I heard that they do really well on those, and have them planted out here on my porch. And I'll plant them, I'll transplant them out, I'll overwinter them, and then I'll transplant them out, and one of those is for strawberries. So let's look at what we got going on here, and I want to show you what I'm doing. So I've gotten everything out, and the Dutch oven, yes, the top is hot. So the Dutch, I'm using my Dutch oven, and we're gonna make chili today. And of course, with that weather being 69 degrees this morning, I'm like, oh, I've got to do up some chili. So I've got my meat browning here, and I've got and what I'm going to do is I'm making a pretty good sized pot, so it should fill this pot pretty full. And I'm going to can, see how many quart jars. If I can get 4 or 5 quart jars out of it, that'd be great. So here's all of my, if you ever wanted to start doing your own broth, it's very easy for you to do. And you can just put it in the refrigerator for right now if you're not into canning. All you do is save all of your scraps, no kind of breads or meats or anything like that, but all your veggie scrap, and it's so easy. You put that in a roaster pan, and you can cook it, just slow cook it, 250, 300 degrees overnight, and then you end up with some beautiful broth like this. The longer you let it cook, it gets darker. I love see the pieces in the bottom and stuff. To me, that's just so much flavor. So I've got 1 jar of chicken broth that's got to go in here. But you can cook this up, season it a little bit, the salt, pepper, and taste it. You know, make sure that it tastes really good for you. If you want it just to have, you can have it for soup base. I didn't believe how many boxes of broth I would buy when I started cooking from home and stuff. And it's just all of your scraps that you can put in there. And then these scraps are for the chickens. And I think I told you, the other day when we were in the garden, is I've got so many chilies that are coming on now. Well, banana peppers. So I have banana peppers in here. I have a couple of chilies in here. I have the 1 jalapeno in here. Just whatever you've got. So that's how I'm making this recipe, is to what I have available to me, either coming out of the garden or that's on my pantry shelf. My husband likes chunky tomatoes, or the whole tomatoes, so 1 of those is going to go in there. Then my sliced tomatoes, and then I found a little jar. I don't know why I had a little jar left over. And then I have a jar of enchilada sauce that has the heat to it, so that's going in there. And then if you're canning and you've never rendered off I just was canning, what did I can? Oh, I made peach salsa. So well, no, it didn't have to do with that, but I cooked up some tomatoes and got all of the juice off of there, and I just put the lid on it and put it in the refrigerator because I knew I'd be using it. And these are what I cleaned out some of the soil bags because I wanted to reuse the soil and get it amended. So these are the poor little onions that I got, but I'm gonna chop them up. I'm gonna use this chopper. I love this thing, so I don't have to but because I'm telling you, those right there carry a punch. I don't know, there's a certain way that you cut your onions so it doesn't disturb. So it's from top to bottom. You slice it long ways, and and I haven't had no problem with tearing up or anything, but I could hardly do that with these. And woo, just that little bit of getting them cleaned up, they just, ooh, I had to stop and blow my nose and wipe my eyes out. But these are all the ingredients that are going to go in here. And then another ingredient, and these are from my garden too. So I cleaned out my carrot beds because I'm going to start carrots again here pretty soon. So these were poor little pitiful looking carrots, and I cleaned them all up, run them through a grater, and if you need a thickener for like your pasta sauce, I did this last year, my pasta sauce. Carrots is a really good thickener, and you can can with that. These are gonna be canned except for the one little bowl I'm gonna have tonight for the ball game. But I used a big bowl of peppers, but this is what I had left. But this will help thicken up, and it doesn't really have no taste to it at all. So you can use carrots in a thickener, and I wanted to show you. See where that jar is. Oh, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat it or not. But this is peach salsa, and I was talking about the peach salsa that I made, and I may have gotten carried away with the cayenne pepper powder in here because, whew, I was trying to do taste test, and yeah, that wasn't working out too well because I'm not a real hot eater, but I've canned several salsas, and they've all turned out very mild. So I don't know if in the canning process, if anybody can tell me if this happens to you, or if you've done this, something you put jalapenos in and you think, oh, this is going to be so hot or something, and then whenever you open it up, it's as mild as can be. Now for me and my husband, that's great, but some people like that heat. So I sent him, he's at the hunting camp this weekend working over there, so I sent him with a jar of that for my stepson and see if he likes it. He likes that hot stuff. So I'll probably be just gifting that. I'll probably be just gifting that out to people if I can't eat it. But I haven't popped open a jar and tried it myself. I was waiting for my husband to let me know. But I just added the onions to the hamburger meat, and I'm gonna let them sweat down. And then I'm going to add all of my chili peppers, let those cook down. And then also my carrots. And these carrots may be little dilapidated looking things, but I mean, that's food that I've grown and that I can use for something. And this is what you want to do in time, in these times that, and carrots may not be that expensive, but once you start doing a grocery list, I very rarely go to the grocery store for hardly any, I like I said, in previous videos, I buy ingredients, and just buying those ingredients, it's you spend $150 before you even know it, and all of those are ingredients, like half and half, and milk, my olive oil, my avocado oil, which I need to order those. I was ordering off of Amazon. I guess I need to go back to that. But if anybody, if you're canning and stuff and you're still popping your jars open, I can't do that. My fingers, I tear up my nails, I tear up my fingers. So this is an easy, opens it right up, doesn't damage the lid at all. And this, nobody is allowed to touch this except for me. So this is going to be 1 can of the chicken broth going in. And we're going to increase that heat a little bit. But like I said, for your chilies, you just cook it how your family likes it. My husband, like I said, my husband likes the Let's see, this may not be enough for me. I may do tomato. So I'm gonna get my tomato juice in there. I made the other night, this is really good for rice. I put some of it in, that's what I cooked my rice in when I made enchiladas the other night. And oh my gosh, I could just sit there and eat the rice. I can't eat a whole lot of rice, but I flavored instead of water, I used the tomato juice. It was out of this world. I just sat there and ate rice. It was so good. There, that looks more like it. So you can make your, you can make it as thick as you want it. You can make it, like I said, how you like it. You can make it as thick as you want it. You can make it as soupy as you want it. But you just make it to your taste. And there are so many recipes out there in the world of our little World Wide Web. So some of the other ingredients, and if you've seen me cook or you've heard me cook before, you know that I put cumin in, turmeric. Turmeric goes in everything. I'm so into anti-inflammatory everything. And I guess in my neck, I've been diagnosed now with some arthritis, some pinching. I guess it's touching the nerve in my neck and stuff. So I'm all about anything that I can do that's anti-inflammatory to kind of keep the swelling down, so it doesn't affect my arm. It affects my right arm. And this is garlic powder. And like I said, again, you can make that to taste. And these are about, 2 pounds of hamburger. There was a recipe that I was looking at. So it's about 2 tablespoons of each one of the seasonings. So 2 tablespoons of cumin, the ground cumin. And I have, this is a tomato basil seasoning. And like I don't even know how, it's old. It's needs to get out of my pantry. So I'm just dumping it in there. It's tomato, basil, and garlic. It's been forever, so I want to get rid of it. So this is something good to stick it in. So I'm going to put that in there. And if you saw any one of my other videos, and get the heat up. If you saw any of my other videos, I got my beans canned. So, and my husband, again, this is what he prefers. So, I'm going to do a jar of black beans. He likes a variety. So he does the black beans. He does the light kidney beans. And I think that's all I'm going to do. I do have dark kidney beans, but I think I'm going to wait on that. See how full my pot gets. But like I said, I will be canning all this up, and I will have the whole meal, the chili, where he will have it. I'm going to do them in quart jars, where he will just be able to take that quart jar and dump it out, and his meal is ready. I'm going to see how much, I never know how much, if there's a lot of juice and stuff, I'll run that juice off. But it looks like it's perfectly, they're good and thick. So I think they're going to go right in there. If I had a lot of juice in there and stuff, I would run that juice off. But that looks perfect. So there's another jar empty. And it's going in. Black beans. Again, not a whole lot of juice to it. A little bit, but not too much. and the black beans. Going right on in there. So that was a quart jar of the kidney beans. And I really should have, to use them in ingredients and stuff. Again, this is me learning. I should have done them in pint jars. But that one got in a quart jar. So instead of adding the dark kidney beans and the light kidney beans, it's only getting the one. And this will simmer and cook most of the day today. And I'll have to show you this in another video on how it all turns out. But I'll let you. So this is it cooking down. I haven't added my tomatoes yet. So let me get up here. I'm going to get my tomatoes added. And I will strain these also. Maybe. Let me see how much juice I got. I don't want that much juice. So let me see. These are nice whole tomatoes. And these are from my last year's. Let me show you over. These are whole tomatoes. And these are from my last year's canning of whole tomatoes. Whole tomatoes. Yeah, those were whole tomatoes too. And that's what my husband likes, so that's what we're going with. And then 1 of a pint of a crushed tomato. And the aroma is just wonderful. It smells heavenly. And there's some of the heat from the enchilada sauce. So a lot of people, if you don't have something that already has some heat to it, you can even take a, like say, not the peach salsa, but say if you have a salsa that's real hot and you think you got it too hot for your family, save that and put it in one of these big pots of soup of chili, and then that'll be your added heat, and it'll mellow out, and you won't have to add anything else. You won't have to do any powdered peppers or anything like that. But that will give you that little bit of heat that you need for the chili. I know this is all going to taste like fresh tomatoes, but we'll do a little taste test and see. But this has got to cook down for like several hours. I just want to check for the heat. Yeah, I can taste a little bit of the heat. So when this cooks down, the heat will be there. Now, if I needed to, I do have powdered the cayenne pepper. But no, I've got heat. I've got heat coming through. And that's what my enchilada sauce. I don't know. And that's a problem that I have, is because my husband's like, you better save that recipe and I want another batch of that next year. Well, like I said, I do follow recipes for the basics. I want a little bit more garlic powder in there. But like I said, I cook with what's coming out of the garden at that time. And what I did with that enchilada sauce, it's something that is good and warm, and then you swallow, and then pow, it hits you on the tail end, and you're carrying that heat taste on for like a little while. I don't know what that is, but it is wonderful, and we love it. So, like I said, salt to taste. That's the Himalayan pink salt. So I'm salting that just to taste. I don't know that it really needs any pepper. But this will cook here most of the day. And then maybe even into tomorrow. I'll transfer it if I've got to. I'll transfer it to my crock pot. Let it cook, slow simmer overnight before I can it. Because if anybody knows, chili just gets better with time. The next day is even better. But all of these are such fresh ingredients. Those tomatoes in there will cook down and they won't get, I don't cut them up or anything. That's how my husband likes them. So we're going to roll with that. But I'm just basically tasting just for the salt content. That is, I'm already loving it. I'm loving it because it's just like just fresh. I'm loving that fresh taste. But I know it's even going to get better with a little bit more time. And I might do just a little bit more heat. I only had one jalapeno out in the garden. And then it calls for, one of the recipes I was looking at calls for a couple of bell peppers. I had one little teeny tiny yellow bell pepper, and you can bet your bottom dollar it went in here. So it's there. But all of my banana peppers, I think I had one shishito pepper. I sliced it up. It went in here. And we'll see if it'll develop some more heat as it cooks down. But that is going to be the start of a great chili. And like I said, also, sometimes if you get something too hot or you get something that is just a little bit over the top, and this is what I was going to do, what I might still do with my peach salsa if I have to redo it or something, but I'm going to figure out, it's just taking it from the spoon and just eating it like that. Now, salsa, you don't normally do that. And that's the same thing with cowboy candy. I really didn't care for the cowboy candy, but you don't eat it like that. You take it and you put it over tacos, or you put it over your meat, or just add it to any meal, and that's the way that you would eat it. And so I have to keep that in mind. But I still, when I make something, I'm so nervous. A lot of people say, you know, I made this and I canned 15 jars of something and it's bitter, it's this, it's that, something like that. And so that kind of makes me nervous. I try and make sure that everything tastes really good when it's going into the jars or has something. So with my salsas and stuff, I've got to remember that it's not going to be eaten like that. It's going to be eaten over something. So that cuts the heat down some. And I'll just have to come back and show you when I get this canned up. I wanted to make a good large pot of this and see how many jars. I'm hoping for at least five chili jars. I sent my husband with, he wanted to go to the camp, and that's why I got, I didn't have no and I kept telling him, I'm going to have chili ready for you to eat. All you got to do is to take it out of a jar, cook it, put it on the stove, warm it up, and there's your meal. Well, they're planting. It's not hunting season right now. It's dove season this weekend, but he's out there. They're clearing roads, and there's a lot of maintenance that goes. I think we have, it's like, don't quote me, like 2,500 acres or something in rented property for our hunting club. It's a paper company property. So when the paper company comes through, they fix up roads and stuff, some, but we have to adjust to their how the landscape looks once. So if we have to cut in some roads or clean up, the woods grow over the summertime, and then we have to go in and clean all that up. Shooting houses, we have shooting houses that wasp nest and stuff. We got to clean them up. The door hinges might be falling off, or just over the summer season and just wear and tear. Windows are creaky or falling off, and all of that has to be repaired. So we spend a lot of time out there before hunting season. So our camper's back out there, and he'll be spending the weekend. So I try and have meals. I'm trying to, along with preparing meals, and like if you want to start kind of homestead type cooking from scratch, you can spend a day. I know this is a beautiful Saturday outside, but if you have time, whatever time that you have off, if you're going to cook up a batch of burritos, or if you're going to cook up a breakfast, double up on the recipes, or double up or triple up, and then make other meals. They go in the refrigerator, and then you have meals for the rest of the week. I know when I used to work a full-time job, I used to work swing shift, 12-hour shifts. I was either sleeping or working. And then also when I was in the massage business too, I was 8, 9, 10-hour days, 4 days a week. And I'd try and take that other day off. And that other day that I had off, massage is very taxing on the body, and that's the issues I have with some of my aches and pains now. But my husband would be, I'll just meet you somewhere and we'll go out and grab a bite to eat. Okay, well, if you figure it up, by the end of the week we're spending $200-300 going out to eat 2 or 3 nights a week, and him going and grabbing lunch. During the day, I would try and pack my lunch and eat a salad, or, eat something, soup. I'm very easy to please as far as something like that. But, there's too many people in his business at the office or whatever that likes to go out and eat. So they'll all get together and go out and eat. And before you know it, he spent $50-60 3 times a week going out to eat. That adds up. And that was 6 months, 8 months ago, a year ago. So now I'm sure it's $100 every time you go out to eat. And I don't know how, these families of 4 or 5, we took all the how many grandkids did we have? I have 14 grandkids. So I think we had 6 grandkids at the time. So we ran by and grabbed some burgers for them at lunch. We took them school shopping, got them ready for school, grabbed a quick hamburger or something. Everybody was hungry. It was over $125. I was like, for a hamburger. But anyway, I mean, it's okay to splurge once in a while, stuff like that. But that can't be your everyday life anymore. And people are going to have to start really looking hard at they're preparing their meals and what little bit you can grow. I don't have a big piece of property, half acre out back. Of course, my chickens provide all my eggs for me. And of course, I'm feeding them feed. So that's a give and take. But I prefer the more natural eggs, I guess you would say. But even though I feed them the feed and the grain and stuff like that, but I enjoy my chickens. If you hear me talking about them, I love my chickens, and they're just like my kids, all running around, mama, mama, mama. Every time I go out there, they want something to eat. But in my garden, I mean, it took us a pretty penny to get this garden set up. And my husband's like, whoa, gosh, for what it costs for this, for soil, for that, fencing, I could have went and bought a whole cow. Well, that's one way of looking at it, but down the road, when the she hits the fan, you know, we may be in a better situation, but we may be in a worse situation too. So I want to be prepared. I want to have um, shelf stable food, uh, just ready to put together and cook up, and just having the knowledge of how I can do that. I bake my bread in the wintertime. I do one thing I can bake. I can bake bread. So I've had some funky looking breads come out, and but basically for the most part, all of our bread in the wintertime is home baked. Uh, and you're gonna find, once you start gardening, like next year, I've cut way back on the amount of tomatoes that I'm gonna do, because I have, but I'm gonna see this winter how much all of this from the pantry and how I cook from the pantry. You gotta be intentional about what you're making, how you're cooking, even if you have everything store bought pantry. It's going to be cost effective for you to look in your pantry and put your meals together by what is in your pantry. So you make sure you're using up and rotating out your stock through what's in your pantry. I bet you if you went and looked today, there's a lot of a lot of meals that you could come up with by pick out one can of something and look at it, and you could come up with a whole meal surrounding the inspiration from that one can. So I'm hoping to share information with the people that are working, trying to figure out how to make a budget to be able to feed their family, and come up with meal planning. Maybe have a small garden, do a couple of tomato plants, when stuff is in season, to buy it in bulk. And even if you just freeze it, water bath canning is very easy. So like jellies and jams and your salsas, stuff like that you can maybe curb, and see how that starts to, you look up water bath canning, and 10 minutes in a water bath canner, you can make up some jellies and jams, and that may be your kids' treats or desserts. Back in the day, I remember my mom talking about that's what they made for, like in the evening time, her mom would make up a batch of biscuits and you'd put jelly over it, and that was your dessert. I mean, and you know where that's coming from. It doesn't have a whole lot of preservatives in it. I'm trying to move away from preservatives and the hormone injected animals. I was on one Facebook group that I got kicked out of because I made a comment and they said I was in the wrong place. But I mean, just like anybody, I'm entitled to my opinion, just like anybody else is entitled to their opinion. When I said, you know, they're talking about these big, beautiful birds that Sam's had, the rotisserie chickens. And I'm like, if you look at those big, huge breasts and the amount of the size of that chicken, that's not normal. I mean, that's not normal. And it's scary that, and they told me, you know, the $4.95, I think, for a bird. And if that's what you have to do to feed your family these days, they told me they can't afford $8 and $10 for a skinny bird. And I'm just like, okay. Some people are not on the same page. So I just kind of let it go. I left the group and just keep my opinions to myself most of the time. But if anybody out there is having, I try and share information so that kind of gets you thinking about where your food comes from. And just recently, a group of people that we know got out of the bird business, and they were talking about a injection or something that they give to these birds or inject them with, so they don't produce eggs while they're fattening them up. And it's some kind of shot, some kind of hormone shot that throws their body into, I don't know, where they won't produce any eggs. So if you, and I looked at a couple of articles on that. And if you are trying to have a baby, if you are trying to figure out what's wrong with your reproductive issues, you might even look at you. I mean, if you're eating, they're packed full of these hormones, and then they've added this. I don't know if it's a hormone, if it's a shot, or what it is, into these chickens, and then you consume those chickens. Is that making you sterile? I mean, is that, and basically I guess that's what it does, is it makes these chickens sterile where they're not laying eggs, so they don't have to worry, those big producing companies don't have to worry about eggs all over the place. The chickens just don't lay no eggs. And then, is that in the meat? I mean, those are some things you need to ask yourself today, what they're pumping into these chicken. And you think you're eating healthy chickens that are either the rotisserie chicken. And I understand that people run by. I've done it for years too. I've bought those chickens. I don't can them. I don't rely on them that much anymore because of just the knowledge that I've gained as to what they're putting into these chickens. Like cottage cheese, the titanium dioxide they put in cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese, but it was messing with my gout, something awful. But they put titanium dioxide in cottage cheese and probably other products and stuff too, to make it look whiter. And then if you look up titanium dioxide is used for like the high gloss paint to give it that shiny, to give it the shininess. And that's what it's used for, to make it look, things to look whiter, to look shinier. It goes into paint products, Skittles, M&Ms, all of those, the coating over them to make those look shiny is titanium dioxide. Folks, you really got to start studying what's in your foods and where it comes from. And that's why I know a lot of mine comes right here from my backyard. Now, I'm not totally backyard self-sufficient. I would like to get that way. And so mindfully cooking, purposeful, something like that. Cooking and being mindful of where my foods come from, like bleached flours and stuff. I still don't like using those, but some of those is the only thing on the market. Regular sugar, I would eat regular sugar, then have all of the sweeteners. Cane sugar is a good one that's not bleached. And so you just got to really shop around and see what it is that you're eating. Honey, if you can put honey in a lot of your stuff, it's more of a natural. And hopefully one day I get to have my honeybees, and I'll be producing my own honey, because I can tell you today, honey's not cheap. And for another on your chili, that coming to mind, if you like a sweeter chili, I make my brown sugar. So I make it out of blackstrap molasses and regular sugar, and I have a dark blend that if this tastes and it has a little bit more of a bitter taste, we kind of like the sweet heat. So, and then also in my chili. So if I taste that a little bit later on and it has some bitterness to it, which I don't think it's going to, I would do like 1/4 of a cup of the brown sugar, and it's heavy on molasses. So it's really the molasses that's going in there. And then a little bit of the sugar. A lot of people put sugar in their chili. But so far that's tasting good like it is. And I was going to show you one other thing that I did. I planted out, I was showing you in another video, my onions that I got planted out and my labeling and stuff. And I was trying to get better on labeling in. So I've got to get these sorted back out and get these put back in. Oh, there's onions left out here, so I got to pull my onion pack. So this is from Amazon. This is a photo. This is a photo container, and it comes with all of these. So, and I've got them labeled. So here's my onions. I'm going to have to put my onion packs back in there. And then like my lettuces. So if I don't plant, if I find a good deal on some stuff, I'll pick it up. But, and I'll store them in here. And then, so this is my one. I filled it up in the first year. And I haven't got too far. But here's my second one. I've got 3 in here. And I save all of my shipping labels and stuff, so I know where I got my stuff from, because that's another problem of mine. I don't know where I ordered it from. I don't know where they came from. So if I write on there and it shows in the packing slip what it is, so I'll know where I got it from if I want that again. And as I go through, I'll learn what I did like planting, what I didn't like planting, maybe what didn't make it around here in this area, or just because of the climate or where we're at here in this area. But I can't remember what else I was going to talk about, but I think that's about it. I covered a lot of stuff. But just knowing where your food comes from and being conscious, like right now, if you can't, if you're not able to do the canning and stuff, try your local farmer's market. I sadly to say, even the farmer's market is really outpricing themselves. But I realize they have, you know, however many employees. It may not be a big farm, but however many employees they have to pay them a good wage to have people today that are going to work out here in this heat, in the sweat, picking stuff, plowing fields, whatever it is they're doing on the farm, picking apples, picking the peaches. I realize they have to pay those people a wage that they can live off of. And when I can get stuff like that from the farms, I will. And this time of year, they'll start doing bulk orders. And you can look up if you're in my area, up in Tennessee, they have the Amish who have a lot of grown stuff right out of the field. They sell it in bulk. You can buy your bulk tomatoes, you can buy bulk, and start learning how to can. That's how I learned how to can. I bought my tomatoes in bulk. Just basic. All of my jams and jellies, my grandkids, every time they come, they grab them a jar, and that's what they take home, and that's their sweets that they eat with you know, what they can have. And those are just extra things, like some of the families you may have to cut out is jellies and jams and stuff like that. But if you learn how to water bath and take the fruit, and those peaches weren't cheap, but I wanted to do some peach salsa, and then those I want to make a cheap a peach jam, to have a little bit of peach jam on my pantry shelf, because the kids are running my running my supply down. But when you find fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, you can buy them in bulk, but you have to process them right away. They can't sit around. A $10 box of something, that's a great price, but if it sits there and rots, you've wasted $10. So be ready. Water bath canning doesn't take a lot of tools, utensils. My daughter is starting out water bath canning. She hasn't pulled the plug on pressure canning yet. She's still not too sure about it, but she's canning her salsas, and she's canning, she made a chutney, like I forgot, basil, yellow tomato basil chutney. So she brought me a can of it. It's very sweet, so I'm trying to think what that would go on, and if you do pork chops or something like that, that's something that could go on if you want a sweet little something on there. But she's starting to. I bought her the balls, the newest balls canning book, and told her to read it from front to back, and recipes in there are wonderful, and she's looking at those recipes, and she's starting out, which that was never even on my radar. So now at 60 years old, I'm figuring out how to can and how to preserve and how to do all that I just was not, I was just not privy to, I guess, on that information. And I didn't mind paying a little bit more of a price when I saw at the farmer's market, and I saw, you know, they're starting to sell a lot of canned stuff at the farmer's market. And I thought, oh, that would be so neat to get. So I'd get a little can of this, a little jar, or a jar of this, a jar of that, and it would taste so wonderful. So now I know where it's coming from. But that's enough of my rambling on, folks. I appreciate you spending some time with me and viewing my channel on YouTube. It's Graham's Backyard Living, and no telling what I'll be into. I'm starting to clean up the garden, and I might film some of that, putting my beds to bed, getting my lettuces growing. And that's another thing I started in the greenhouse. If you look on my other video, my lettuces and stuff. And when I get some soil in those stackables, I'm going to transfer some of my lettuces and stuff out there, and just, you can just grow them in those. But never know what I'm getting into or what I'll be doing or what inspiration will come to me. It just comes to me from the garden or an experience or something that I've done. And I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me, and hope you'll like my channel and join my my page on YouTube and my Facebook page, and kind of follow me. And if you have any suggestions or some things that you want to know, feel free to ask. It's disheartening on some of the Facebook pages that are out there, because people can be cruel, and I try and not comment on there a lot. And of course, the one time I do, I get slammed. So I just keep my mouth shut, and I just scroll on, and I don't share a whole lot on there because of that. So if there's any information that you want to know, or how to do something, I will share that with you. You just message me, and we'll get it figured out together. And thank you, folks, for joining me, and excited to see you again for my next upload. And like I said, no telling what I'll be doing, but I'll be back.